Hi, I am Alice Keeler. I am here in Fresno, California, and it is hot. How's it over in Napa there?
You're gonna be very, very surprised.
Yeah.
We're like in the 60s, 70s.
Why
Not
would I
hot
be
at all.
surprised? Because I feel like if you're going over to the Bay Area, it's like cooler.
Yeah. Well, a few minutes ago it was sprinkling.
Uh, we don't get that. It's 88 degrees in my office right now. That's what the little thing says. So I am like feeling punchy. It's the end of the day and it's warm. So we'll see how I get through this. We are doing my list files that you have in a Google Drive folder. So I have a lot of things that I've coded. So I'm just gonna share this with you, and then maybe you could brainstorm some ideas of how it can be used in some creative and innovative ways. But the way that I came across this is someone on Twitter was saying that they have a whole shared folder that AP teachers, AP biology teachers, they share all of these files. And I said, that's really cool, but like sharing folders, and they've got it's all organized. They have folders for each topic of biology and each area of biology and all that. So that's cool. But I personally get really frustrated, like, oh, we have a share folder. Like, oh, you have a dump of files. Great, thanks. What frustrates me about just sharing a folder in Google Drive is I have no ability to like put a note or explain what that file is for. I know like at the school I taught at last year, they had not only a share folder, but like folders within the folders. And they have like codes sometimes for names. Like you literally have really no idea of really what that file is without opening it, which can be frustrating. So really, if you organize your files from Google Drive into a Google Sites, that would allow you to, embed it, put a little note, this is why I'd want to use it. And then of course, like that's super time consuming. You got to keep updating it, and it gets big quick. When you have an embedded file, it's very large. So I thought, you know what if you just had a table of contents and then you could order it and organize it however you want. So the start of this is I'm going to, at a very basic level, I'm just going to run through and I'm going to do it. We're going to do it real easy because I'm going to show you what happens when you run the thing. And then I'm going to have you do it so that you can ask me questions, say it's not working, what do I do here? So you can give it a try. And then what we're going to do is get a little nerdy and look at ways that we can format the spreadsheet so it's not just a dump of files in a spreadsheet. That's what we're going to do. Although I had a slide that said all of that. So the place to start is alicekeeler.com/list the files. So I would recommend that you get a Google Keep note, keep.google.com, or you should for sure have the Keep app on your phone. I love the Google Keep app. And make a color for like Alice stuff or conference things. When you go to a PD session and they give you, here's the list of resources with the website, like you're ever going to find that again. Totally, you can find it again. If you put it in Google Keep and then have a color for conferences or like PD, so I color them orange, and then in Google Keep, you can search by color. And then whoop, that all comes up. So you search orange and like, oh, here's alicekeeler.com/list the files. So anyway, I just recommend you put this someplace that you can find it because that's the only way to get there. I, for the most part, do not submit my add-ons that I code to Google because I just don't have enough sticks to poke in my eye. It's a painful process. And if you use Drive app, which this does, they want to charge you $15,000. So you'll notice that a couple of the Chrome extensions, I don't know how to code Chrome extensions. I'm sure I could learn pretty easy, but I just pay someone on some website to do them for me. And if they use Drive app and Google's now wanting to have them reviewed for $15,000, I'm like, they could just die. Been nice. So since I'm not going to pay $15,000 and you want this for free, save this somewhere. alicekeeler.com/list the files. Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, Carrie. And don't be afraid, you guys, to turn on your mics. The whole point that I do the webinars is to be more casual. If I wanted to do a formal video, I would just make a YouTube video. So I hope you're showing up because you want jokes. or to hear about what wine I'm drinking later. Right, my friend? All right, so I'm going to show it and then you're going to try it. And it lets you select a folder in your Google Drive. You want a table of contents of that folder. It lists each file in the folder. And if you have subfolders, now this only goes one level deep, because when you start to do the math on subfolders of subfolders, it gets a little crazy with the branching. And so I just don't do that. So you get up to one folder level deep. So folder in the folder, but not folders in the folders in the folders. And so if it does have a subfolder, it makes a new tab for each subfolder and lists them in there. So there's a little, when we get nerdy, we are going to learn how to do macros. So this could just be a fun opportunity to learn macros if you've never used one in Google Sheets. So what a macro does is you basically just record like what you're doing. You click record macro and like, okay, I'm gonna make this column wider and I'm gonna make it blue and I wanna number things and whatever you wanna do in the spreadsheet. And it records the steps. Then you go to the next sheet and you're like, yeah, I need to do the same thing to this one. So you play the macro, it just woo, like magic, does all those things. So I think that'll be a really fun thing for us to do towards the end, right? That's a great idea. Give myself kudos. I told you I'm feeling punchy today. So we're going to copy the Google Sheet spreadsheet by going to alicekeeler.com/list the files. We're going to wait for the code to load because it always takes about a minute. Got to be patient for the code to load. We're going to use the add-on menu. It's going to bring up a sidebar. And then we push a button. We're like, which folder do I want? Now this is where it gets a little tricky because you're selecting a folder. You are not selecting files. So we have this like tendency to want to double click and open the folder, but then it's empty because it's the code's only looking for folders. So single click the folder. So you select the folder, wait for the code to run. So drink some coffee. I'm like double matching today with my Flipgrid student voice. And then we're going to format the spreadsheet and make it look like the way that we want it to look like. Okay. Woo, that was a lot. Let's get to it. So where we are starting, oh, I was going to show this again. alicekeeler.com/list the files. So you're going to watch me. I'm just going to do it real quick and then we're going to do it together. So alicekeeler.com/list the files. And it prompts me to make a copy. Now, right now, the code doesn't update, but it would be relatively easy. Yeah, this depends on your version of easy. I mean, I could have it. I'll think about it. I got to think of what needs to be updated and how it's updated. But one of the things you're able to code is things on a trigger that it just automatically updates. I have lots of things that do that, so I'll have to think about it. Right, and I'm just killing time for my code to load. Remember, what are we going to do? Wait for the code to load.
Hey, Alice, does this work with the shared drives as well, or just like folders within there, or just regular? Okay.
To be honest, I've never used a shared drive.
I don't like them either.
Well, it's not even a matter of that. It's that I am an international collaborator, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for much of my stuff to be in a shared drive because I need whatever I have to, like, look what I'm doing. You can have it. I mean, that's how I live my life. You might notice that whatever I'm doing, I'm tweeting, and you may be like, I don't care that you're making pivot tables right now, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So yeah, sorry, I don't know. Try it.
Okay, will do.
So the thing about this code is all it's doing is grabbing the titles and the link. It doesn't hurt anything. It's not changing anything. It's not moving anything. It's doing nothing to the actual file itself. So it won't hurt to just experiment on any folder. All right, so now this is loaded and I'm going to go to the add-ons menu and I have a lot of add-ons. And it'll be at the bottom because it's not something you can install. So remember, you have to always start with alicekeeler.com/list the files. And you choose sidebar if you want to. And it always asks you to authorize. And if it has more than one email address right here, I'm going to yell at you. That is bad news. That's where you get into trouble. And then people are like messing with you. It doesn't work. It works. What happened is your spreadsheet that you're using is using one account, but you authorized a different account and they don't match. So if you have more than one, go to alicekeeler.com/conflict and learn how to undo that. You want one. If there is more than one, though, just choose carefully. Whatever it says, say yes. First of all, I coded them, so I trust me. I don't want any of your files or access to any of your stuff. But remember, you made a copy, so now it thinks you're the owner of the code. So you're really only giving yourself access to access your own files anyway. So they are safe. It just says, it's very annoying. It says unsafe because they're not willing to vouch that anyone at Google has looked at my code. So look, John McGowan showed me how to put these fun little SVG graphics in my sidebars. I'm feeling very nifty. So I have this button here that says select folder. So pretty easy. Just select folder, choose the folder. Remember, we're going to single click. And here's where it gets a little tricky in the sense that I want to use my templates folder. Do I have it on this account? Yeah, okay, maybe this one. Oh no, does that say templates, do not edit? Whatever, I'm gonna try this one. Notice I single click, but what happens is when I'm searching at the top, it gives you these suggestions. The problem is that when you pick one of those, it opens the folder. So you actually have to just push enter, even if you see it in the drop-down list. Don't pick it out of the drop-down list. Single click on the folder and select. Drink coffee, remember? That's literally all you have to do. It's just gonna do it. And for some reason, I noticed I have to refresh, which is weird. Usually code runs, everything goes in, and I never have to refresh, but for some reason, this code is making me refresh. So I'm just gonna push refresh. So you see, whoa, look, there's all this stuff there. Where did that come from? I don't know. It should just auto update without refreshing. Okay, so it has this folders tab, and the folders tab lists all the subfolders. So I have a folder called a folder called U cubed, a folder for directions, my templates. These are all my folders that I had in that folder. So this is a list of my folders and the links to those folders. So that's pretty handy just right there, because now you can just share the link really quick. For coding purposes, I really like the ID number of the folders and files. So I always stick that in there, but you can ignore it. Just don't delete it, just ignore it. Then you'll see I have a tab. It says templates, but actually that was the name of the folder that I listed. Remember, I found a templates folder. So you will have a tab that has the name of the folder. And these are all the files that were in my templates folder. So what I could now do is just tweet out this spreadsheet. And if you wanted to, just click on the tiny triangle, copy to new spreadsheet. You're like, I don't want to give out all the subfolders. Fine. Just copy it to a new spreadsheet, and then it's just got just that list if you want just that folder and not the subfolders. But you can see that it gives you the document title, the link to the document, when it was modified and when it was created, and tell me you don't really just like having that information right in your face. So that is really good. And then I go to this tab, and I put checkboxes on here, and I don't know why. I just have a love affair with checkboxes in a spreadsheet. But I think I was thinking, well, what if I shared this with people and they made a copy? Like they made a copy of the spreadsheet and they're like, okay, I've used that file, I've used that file. So it's just a way for you to check off which ones you've already done something with. I don't know. Then right here's my UCube folder, my directions folder, these templates for something. I don't even know what I have, right? But I've got all these newsletters. Okay, right, so that is at a basic level what it does, super easy. So now you're gonna do it. So if you're in full screen mode in your Zoom, you wanna take it out of full screen mode, shrink up the window, squish it to the side so that you have Chrome or Safari or whatever you use on your main screen. and you're going to go to alicekeeler.com/list the files, and you're going to make ooh and ah sounds or like yell at me. So you can do either of those things.
I have a question. I missed it at the beginning. When we go to the add-on and list the files, are we clicking sidebar or make a list of files?
To be honest, it doesn't matter. If you do sidebar, you get to see my fun graphics and push one button that's in the sidebar.
Got
If
it.
you make the list of files, that is the one button that's in the sidebar. Take your pick.
Okay. Thank you.
See how funny I think I am? It's been a long day. That's all I can say. I got up at 4 a.m. Oh. What happens if I click about? Anything? Oh, look at that. It embeds my YouTube video. I should go do that with like all my add-ons. That might be the only one I do that with. Sometimes I'm only kind of stupid. Oh, that's nifty. How are we doing? So you went to alicekeeler.com/list the files, use the add-on menu, push the button somewhere. It let you pick a folder. You single clicked on the folder, let it run. Did it do it? Oh, and you refreshed. You refreshed.
So Alice,
Yeah.
can I select, since I have lots of folders inside this one folder, inside other folders, can I go further down in and select that as my listing?
Oh, yes, right. So,
Okay.
the first one, just do the first layer. And then if you have a subfolder and a subfolder, you can just do it again with a different alicekeeler.com/list the folders.
Gotcha.
And then what you can do in that second one is use the little arrow and on the tab and copy to. So this is a fun trick that you can do with a spreadsheet. Is I click the little drop down arrow and I say copy to an existing spreadsheet. So when you run it, let's say you've got all these subfolders and you end up having to do alicekeeler.com/list the folders, list the files 12 times. So then each of those 11 extras, if you just take the tabs that you really want and send them back to the original spreadsheet,
Gotcha.
less work than if you had to do it by hand.
Definitely. I think I would just start with the interior folders. Those are the more important ones, then go from there. Okay.
Well, if you just think about it, is making a table of contents just within the single folder. So again, like I've got all these subfolders, but really I probably like that. This is my main folder that I selected, and these are all the files that were in that main folder. So what I might do then is click the tiny triangle and I will copy it to a new spreadsheet instead of an existing spreadsheet. And that one will be the table of contents for that folder. And I would save that into the Google Drive folder that I did this on. And I like to name them like 00 table of contents so that when you alphabetize, it's the first one. And then you can just do that for each of the subfolders. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to copy that to a new spreadsheet and then put that one in the folder that it belongs and kind of work your way down. That's a tip. I don't know. Maybe it's a terrible one. And look, I don't even have any checkboxes on this one. We have to update the code.
Alice,
Yes.
with regards to creating these lists, if we add a document to one of the folders, will the list get updated? No, okay.
No, that was what I was saying at the beginning. So let me remind you of my story. Is the other weekend when I'm super busy, I saw someone talking about they were sharing on, they had this great sharing folder and I wanted to be helpful. Well, I only have so much time. It would take, I could do it. Just give me another time where I just can't take it anymore and you'll go to the menu and there'll be more than one button. You'll be like, there's more than one button. I can update it now. So one day I will consider that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so for now, what I would do if you have extra files that gets put in there is I would go to a new alicekeeler.com/list the files and run it, and then do a copy to the original one, and then delete out the sheet that you're replacing. Does that make sense? Because you could run the same macro on it if you put it back into the original one. Here's what I'm thinking is, once I put that table of contents in the folder, then people have that link, they have that file, it's shared, they know which one. So I wouldn't want to just like swap it out with a new file, maybe. So then I would probably more inclined to just try to push it and update it that way.
Cool.
Okay, were we able to successfully list our files? Did you become impressed with the check boxes? That's like the best part.
Yep, it came
Right.
in.
So I have all of these subfolders, and one of my things I'm realizing, this is a good reason I like to do the webinars, because now I realize where something is not working. The main folder, oh wait, no, that does match. Templates, no, they do all match. We're good, never mind. It's the one that with the folders doesn't have any check boxes. So I'll add that later. I'm gonna ignore the folders file, and I'm gonna go to one of my tabs. You'll notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 subfolders. So if I want to format it, I'm going to have to do that 7 times, and that sounds terrible. So what I'm going to do, just real quick to show you how to do the macro. I'm going to pick one of them. It doesn't really matter which one. And I'm going to go to Tools, Macros, Record Macro. You're going to be amazed at how like totally easy this is. You're like, wait, I could have done this all along. Yeah, watch. Okay, so I'm just going to record a macro, Tools, Macros, Record Macro. Now I'm looking at this. Now, of course, I've already frozen the first row for you because like I get twitchy if the headings, you know, the column headers are not frozen. That just bothers the heck out of me. But I'm going to highlight these columns, and I'm going to go to Format, and I'm going to choose Alternating Colors. It's going to change your life, you guys. It's going to change your life. Do you see how in the sidebar it now says Alternating Colors? And then you can pick a color. Like, okay, that's literally it. And now, look at, I have alternating colors. It's amazing. Now what else do you notice? Like, well, this title is so squishy. So I want to get in between. So I get the letters at the column indicators. You got to get in between a column indicator. And you'll notice that when you're in between, that the icon changes. So I can hold it down and stretch it out, make it wider. Now the link, that's probably fine. I want to be able to see it. Maybe I make these a little smaller just so I can make a point. Do you know if you double click it auto resizes? I'm a little hesitant to do it on the title because sometimes it gets out of control with ones that have big files, but that looks all right. And then clearly our checkboxes should be squishier. Does that look good? No, it doesn't look good. I can make these bigger and a different font, like Comic Sans. I can make them white. Look at all these steps that I'm doing. I'm making my spreadsheet so fancy. All right, so the other thing though is like this is still just a dump of files with a checkbox. So while that's kind of cool, I'd like to put some order to this spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click. I'm going to right click. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. And insert left. right click so I can insert left. So I'm going to insert a column to the left. I'm going to make it skinnier. And then I'm going to type a 1 and a 2. I'm going to highlight these and drag it down. I do know that there's an easier way of double clicking on this. In fact, I'm just going to do that now. All right, so now I've got all of them numbered. But of course, then I'm thinking later, I'm going to have to renumber these into the right order. But I'm going to leave this for now. So I just get myself kind of set up. Okay, then I am going to go and stop. Assume stuff is in my way. It's covering things. That's one of the things that drives me crazy here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the alternating colors. I'm going to save my macro. We'll call it fancy. You can give it a keyboard shortcut if it's something you use a lot. I'm not going to. Okay, you guys, you ready for this? Because this is going to be the coolest thing you have ever seen in at least the last 10 minutes. So I'm going to go to the next tab, which starts the same. And I'm going to go to the tools menu, macros, and there's my fancy macro. Boom. And they match. Now, of course, the flaw in this system is that I had it take numbers 1 through 132, but it's more trying to make a point. I'm going to go to U cubed here, and I'm going to go to tools, macros, fancy. What?
Why didn't you show me this last week?
Yeah, I told you this. I mean, I could have been doing this the whole time. I knew you were going to feel that way. I knew it. Look at this. Do you see me? I remember I had 8 folders. Look at me blast through this. Tools, macros, fancy. That's all I need in life is to just drink more coffee. I mean, just like, let the macro do the work. Now, if you really want to get nerdy, the thing that the macro does when you record a macro is it actually writes it in AppScript. So I coded the whole thing, the list, the files, grab the folder, and all of that in AppScript in the first place. And I'm sure this is going to be way too scary for you. But if you go to manage, now this is like advanced nerd stuff. If you go to manage the macros and you click on the 3 dots, it says edit the script. This is the best. Okay, so what it does is it basically just writes my code for me. So watch this, it's gonna open. Look at all this code. It wrote all this code without me doing it. So when I'm coding, so here's my code that I actually coded for this whole thing. Some of it, what I do is I just record a macro and I copy and paste it into my code. So I save myself like a whole bunch of steps. So I'm sure that almost none of you need to know that you can look at the code for a macro. But you know what? I think you should look at the code for your macro. It's actually really interesting. It's very readable. You're like, wait a minute. I can read code. I know what this does. Let's go back and we're going to take a look at it. I know. Otherwise, it was just too easy and I'm out of time. I only need 10 minutes for this webinar. Okay, so look. It says spreadsheet app, get the active spreadsheet. Get this range from A to E and activate it. So get the range and apply row banding and make it light gray. Skip over the stuff you don't understand, but it's like the spreadsheet, get this range from A1 to E1000. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. Set the header row color, set the first row color, set the second row color. Like, do you see how readable this is? And now you start thinking, wait a minute, Alice is not quite as magical as she pulls it off. Like, that's all you have to do to code. I can do this. And then you start getting really cool. So I'm just trying to encourage you. Code's not so crazy. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, so you ready? So you've got your spreadsheet. You're going to go to your spreadsheet, and the first thing you're going to do is tools, macros, record macro. Tools, macros, record macro, and you're going to decide how you want to format your spreadsheet. Okay. Now, if you want, you can highlight the columns where you have data, and you can go format, alternating colors. So that's a choice. You got to highlight those specific columns and format alternating colors. So that's one option. I'm just going to do it because it's fun. Admit it, right? Right, Carrie? It's fun. I just made it orange. Now, when I do it that way, where I highlight all the columns, it basically goes down to 1,000. So if you want just where the data actually is, then highlight just that data. And then you can format alternating colors, and it'll just be that little selection. So, you know, whatever you want. I think that you definitely want to make column B wider. So get in between column B and column C headers, column indicators. Get in between the column indicators and drag it to the right and make it wider. If you want, you could just double click right between B and C and it'll auto resize. And then be fun. Highlight those column headers and change the font and the font color. And then stop your macro once you've done all the fancy things that you want to do. And then you're going to go to another tab if you had subfolders. If you didn't pick a folder with subfolders, then this doesn't work. But if you have a subfolder, you go over to the subfolder tab, and you go back to the tools menu, tools, macros, and your macro that you saved is hanging out there looking super cool and just whoop, does all those things for you. And just suddenly life became glorious. Can you see how sharing out this spreadsheet, even if you're just on Twitter, like here's a folder of my resources, or here's a spreadsheet that I've organized. You can now go through and you can have like a notes column. Oh, what just happened? You have a notes column. Like this one is cool. This one is scary.
Love it.
Has pumpkins. I don't know. I don't even know if they all have the same title. But I mean, like when you're looking at a drive folder, don't you ever wish that they just had a note? You could read a note. Technically, you could do that. I'm going to show you. So when I go to Drive, I'm going to find a folder and open it. You're going to see why you don't really want this spreadsheet's better. I wait for my Drive folder apparently to open forever. Okay, this says presentations. What's in here? Open. Like open. That would be just great. Just open. When you're running Zoom, just forget it. Everything's slow. I'm going to put D. I'm single click on a file. I push D for details, and it shows me the details of the little preview, and it shows what folder it's in and the owner, and then it says add a description, and I can click on the pencil to add a description. So you could put that little note in the description. Just go to the Drive file, single click, press D for details, or of course you can press this little icon, the I icon, the info icon up in the toolbar, whichever way you want to do it. I like keyboard shortcuts. And now that's open, I can click on the next file and the next file, and you can click on the pencil. The reason I don't like that, because it's not so hard, is that people don't think to look there. So you can put all those comments and details, But even still though, I have to open up every single file separate. Like I have to click on like, and what is that detail? And what is that detail? And what is that detail? So that's that. And then look, I just scroll on that one. I mean, it works, but if it's in a spreadsheet, I can look at the whole list. I can sort it, I can filter it, I can put as many notes as I want. You know, this one is a really good activity. You could add poo. Who doesn't want to add poo? I know you want to add stars. That one probably makes more sense to add stars. That's not as much fun. So I'm going to show you how to add poo into your spreadsheet. So I do pile of poo and I do copy. And I'm going to put it up there. So, I mean, I can just paste all my poo, but that's way too tedious. So I can know how many poo ratings I want to give it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to insert a column to the left. And I'm going to say that's a 4, that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 4, that's a 5, and that one's a 90. And I do equals REPT, and I'm going to repeat the equals REPT. I'm going to repeat the poo. Now, I don't know if you know this about a spreadsheet, but you have cell referencing, which is the H1, and you have absolute cell referencing, which says always H1. It's like ain't gonna move, the poo's staying in H1. So I have to put a $sign in front of the H, and I have to put a $sign in front of the 1, like money. I'm gonna zoom in. I see you squinting in there. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. What happened here? H1. Oh yeah, I have to do comma. How many times am I going to repeat it? G2. So the H1, my poo emoji is always in cell H1 all of the time. It does not move. So like your money, like don't touch my money, don't move my cell. That's how I remember it, right? $sign H, like it's going to be H all the time. Don't touch my H, $sign. $sign 1, row 1, always row 1. Row 1, H1, row H1, whatever. It's H1 all the time. And then comma, how many it repeats. So where it repeats is in G2. So then I clicked on the G2. But that does change because as I drag this down, you see how it changes how many emojis? And now I have 90 poo emojis. And life just became really fun. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to hide that column of ratings so I just have poo emojis. How did you not want that? And you can't do that in a Drive folder. You need a spreadsheet. And then I share this sheet, to people, and they have the link to all the files and you can reorder them. I mean, it's a spreadsheet if you don't know this. I'm going to zoom back out. This one's fine. Nah, I'm going to go to a different tab. I'm going to go to a different tab that looks different and has less files. Oh, look at this one with only 2 files. How nice. I'm going to highlight all of it. So the title, the link, the modified, the created, and whatever notes I have. And you'll notice when you hover over the edge, do you see how it becomes a grabby hand? When you hover over the edge, it becomes a grabby hand. So I'm going to grab it and move it. Grab, drag, move. So when I'm in here's one, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Control Z is your best friend in the whole world. You can't use spreadsheets without Control Z. Honest to goodness, you have to have Control Z. So I'm gonna highlight everything I want to move. I get on the edge, grabby hand, drag it down, highlight. And so what I tend to do is just kind of like move them, get myself some space. Yeah, this will make at least a 6. And I don't know, somewhere down here. I'll just stick it down there for now. And I just drag them around until they're like, this is the best order for them. And get rid of the blank lines and all of that. Okay. What do you want to try? You want to do the poo emoji? Okay, so you're going to Control T. Control T. You're going to go to emojipedia.org. emojipedia.org, and you're going to find the emoji of your choice. Now, I like to be funny when I do a presentation and use poo emojis, but I'm assuming that when you're sharing district benchmarks that they will not appreciate your poo emojis. So maybe you could do stars or pencils. Number of pencils would be great on the district benchmarks. Even though you're thinking poo would be more appropriate. I know it.
It is.
Oh, you see how punchy I am today? Not even Friday,
It feels like it.
doesn't it? I frequently am like, what day is it? My daughter was arguing the other day that it was Sunday. I'm like, no, it's Tuesday. Sorry. She's like, what? Doesn't feel like Tuesday. I'm like, they all blend together. I don't know what to tell you. Her birthday's next week. I said, which part of the house do you want to have your birthday in? We'll go to Carl's Jr. and go through the drive-thru and get an Oreo milkshake. It'll be exhilarating. I got her like a hammock swing though, so now she gets to go outside in the backyard. Look at that. Taking her places. All right, so you got your emoji. I still have my emoji. So you're just gonna paste it into one of your column headers. Be smarter than me and paste it into, well, you need 2 columns, right? So one of your columns, just go through and rate them just for fun. How many times you want to rate them? So you need a rating column and an emoji column. And the formula is equals REPT parentheses. Let's start over. Equals REPT parentheses. And then you click on wherever has your emoji. Click on it. You want a keyboard shortcut? F4. If you do F4, watch, I'm gonna do F4 right now. F4, woo, put the dollar signs on there for me. I know you like that one. So F4 does absolute cell referencing for you. Very helpful. Comma. And then you got to click on the number of poos you want or whatever your emoji is. So I'm going to click here in this case on G2 and push enter. It should repeat. And then you just click where the formula is and grab the fill down square. Okay, does anyone have any questions?
No, this is awesome.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna end a little early. I mean, I could keep going and getting crazy, but reiterate how easy this is. There is one button and you do this one button, it gives you a list of all your files, and then you can just do whatever spreadsheet skills that you have to organize this in a way that makes a lot more sense. And then I would just click on the folder icon and I'd move it into the folder that I made, that I chose, so that the table of contents lives in the folder. You don't have to. There's lots of reasons why you might not want to do that, but that's just a tip.
Yeah.
All right. I will be around for a long time. I've got a lot of webinars coming up. If you are registered, alicekeiler.com/webinars. I'm pretty sure it's plural, alicekeiler.com/webinars. You fill out a Google form and then I just email you once in a while. I'm like, here's some webinars I'm having. I don't always remember to send it out, but and if you are a subscription member, that is where I put all of the videos and archives and invite people to be panelists. And I would love it if you would subscribe, because that's what lets me do all the sharing that I do. So if you go to alicekeiler.com/discount, you can get a discounted subscription. And that gets you access to all of my online workshops and my webinars and weekly office hours. Okay, you guys, go spreadsheet. It'll be fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you. And when this is all over, I'm coming over and you're getting me some wine. Was that our deal?
Yes.
my Napa friend.
Of course.
Of course. All right. I will see you guys another time. Bye.
Okay, bye, thank you.